Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this course. I am Y.A. Wada, short for Yunus Adamu Wada. You can call me Yunus, no problem. And I will be your instructor for this course, COMM806, titled Environmental and Occupational Health Practice, Policy and Legislation. I once again welcome you all, and I hope we get the utmost benefit as expected as we discuss the content of the course. Please, I urge you to feel free to ask any question or seek clarification with regards to the topic of discussion. And therefore, I urge you to sit back and be attentive so that you can get to understand how the environmental and occupational health practice, policy, and legislation contribute to safety of workers and well-being. So sit tight and let's get started. All right, to get started, we need to know what the course is all about. In summary, COMM806 is a 3-credit unit course for MPH students, and it deals with the study of the basic elements in occupation, including the worker, the tools, the process, and the work environment. And in this course, the center of focus is on protecting, maintaining, and improving the health and well-being of workers in their physical as well as their work environment. So that's just a brief what the course is all about. So what's the learning outcome and expectation at the end of the course? At the end of this course, you should be able to one, discuss the principles of environmental health, two, define the concept of occupational health, three, describe exposure, evaluation, and assessment, four, evaluate occupational disorder at work, five, you should be able to discuss ways to prevent accidents and injuries at workplace. 6, you should be able to explain ergonomics and work organization. And 7, you should be able to discuss psychosocial factors at work. And 8, you should be able to examine housing policy and health. 9, you should be able to provide legislation on environmental health. And finally, you should be able to state laws protecting the health and safety of workers in any given establishment. Okay, all right. The grading criteria. This course will be graded in two forms. We have the formative assessment and the summative assessment, which is the semester exam. For the formative assessment, you will be given an individual assignment, a total of 15 marks. Then also give a group assignment that will be for 5 marks. Then we have a gradable forum. There's your participation in the forum, ability to contribute to any issues of discussion. That will earn you 5 marks. Then there will be a gradable quiz. Anytime I may decide to upload the quiz into the LMS platform, and we're going to be graded to be for 5 marks. So for the formative assessment, you have a total of 30 marks. Then for the summative assessment, which is the semester exam, is going to be conducted in two forms. You have the CVT based and essay based. The CVT based mostly is multiple choice questions, while the essay base is mostly on theory. So that will be for 70 marks. And at the end of the whole this thing, you have a total of 100 marks. And I will be happy if everybody at the end of the day score 100 marks. Okay, so just feel motivated and just about your participation, and take your assignment serious, take your quiz serious, uh, all the do's and don'ts, uh, abide by the rule. All right. Okay, okay, these are some of the course learning resources. Here I itemized some reference materials, and can see that the one that is highlighted in blue is the main reference material, that is the courseware. Okay, so that's the primary reference material. So please ensure that you read your courseware. There's our reference material. Others are secondary. Okay. All right. All right. The course study plan. Generally, the whole course is categorized into 3 modules, and each of the module has study sessions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So, but for each of the contact or interactive discussion, we try to cover as much study session as possible, minimum of 2 study session per interaction. Then sometimes you may be asked to do some reading assignment or gradable assignment, okay, so that we'll be able to cover the course within the time given. Okay, so this is our study plan, our GPS. Okay, so we take them one at a time. All right, thank you. All right, so first topic of discussion today is the basic concepts and principles of environmental health and safety. Uh, let's look at some of the learning outcome. After studying this session, I expect you to be able to, one, define environmental health and safety. Two, you should be also able to define or describe environmental health and safety plan. Three, you should be able to explain the essential element of safety plan. And four, you should be able to analyze the principles of environmental health and safety. Okay. All right, so let's look at our first topic, which is the concept of environmental health and safety. By definition, we said environmental health and safety, abbreviated as EHS, is a discipline and specialty that studies and implement practical aspects of environmental protection and safety at work. Environmental health and safety can also be referred to health, safety, and environment. So don't get confused. Where you see EHS and HSE, they can be used interchangeably. Okay, so the whole essence of environmental health safety, it aims to prevent and reduce accident, emergencies, and health issues at work, along with environmental damage that could result from work practices. So in simple terms, it is what an organization must do to make sure that their activities do not cause harm to anyone. And the essence of environmental health and safety is to create a healthy workplace. That's what the whole concept entails. And environmental health and safety is motivated or is aimed by the intention to achieve: 1. Protection of workers, their health, and the natural environment. 2. To ensure compliance with legal requirements and regulatory standards. And 3. To increase the productivity, profit, and morale that comes with a safe and healthy workforce. Okay, so now let's also look at the concept of environmental health and safety plan. Okay, said environmental health and safety plan is a written document that provides for safety to environment and personnel in a workplace. Okay, it's a written document that provides for safety to environment and personnel in a workplace. Okay, then an environmental health and safety plan provides a framework for ensuring compliance with regulations pertaining to protection of personnel and environment. Okay, it also ensures compliance of procedures and guidelines at workplace. Essentially, environmental health safety plan takes into consideration the three main aspects of environment, health, and safety that affects workers' well-being. Okay, so the strategic priorities of environmental health safety plan are made to include the environment, the health, and safety. The environment in the sense that to provide and guide, to provide the guide for an environmentally responsible organization that preserve and protects the natural resources. Okay, then health in this regard is to provide the framework needed to minimize the exposure of the employees to health risks and also protect the well-being of employees and management. Okay, then and the safety aspect is to provide workers the knowledge they need to work in a safe environment without hazard. Okay, so these are the three main strategic plans of the environmental health safety in order to have a healthy environment, healthy people, and safety from hazard. Okay, all right. All right. Uh, Now let's also look at the essential element of a healthy and safety plan. Uh, According to McLeod and Ketchum, 2007, an effective environmental health and safety plan will include the following essential elements. So let's look at each of these elements and how they apply to health and safety plan. Say the first one is on hazard recognition, evaluation, and control. This simply involves proactive recognition in terms of the environment, the people actually doing the work, the equipment or materials used in the work process and processes. Okay, once a hazard has been identified, then they have to be controlled, right? And generally, the accepted hierarchy of control is elimination or substitution. It's either you replace it or you remove it entirely or you replace it. Okay, and uh, things like personal protective equipment, engineering control, and administrative control. Okay, so those are some of the evaluation. Then the second essential element is workplace design and engineering. And in this regard, in designing a workplace, safety of life and environment must be of paramount importance. And here some of the safety codes are already done by building codes through legislation, okay? And this include electrical fire suppression standards and other aspects involving ventilation, equipment, machine, safeguarding processes, okay? Then another essential element is the workplace planning and staffing. This is very important. You know, for an effective environmental health and safety plan, an effective human resources management is critical. Okay, it includes the development of accurate job description, which need to be taken into consideration. The job duties such as respiratory use or hearing protection or use of manual material handling, exposure to allergens that may trigger the need for pre-employment evaluation and medical surveillance. Okay, so limiting exposure by administrative control or other safety consideration and development of safety rules would both be considered in this particular element of staffing. Then the fourth one is environmental management. Here we said environmental management is very important element of the environmental health and safety plan. The plan takes into consideration the things like air emission and all aspects of the environmental, maybe pollution. Okay, then issues from proper permitting to preventing potential environmental liability are also considered in this particular element. Okay, and the fifth one is an organizational communication. Okay, here we said communication within the organization keeps employees informed of new and existing policies, procedures, lessons learned, and missions. Okay, likewise, it provides avenues from the front line to upper management for consideration in the development and revision of those policies. Okay, they need to constantly revise those policies. And the flow of information in both directions is critical for an effective environmental health and safety plan. Okay. Then the sixth one, we said occupational health. Occupational health. And here, the nature and scope of an occupational health program can vary widely from company to company. Okay. Often in animal care settings, one might expect pre-employment health evaluation or periodic medical surveillance, injury protocols, and maintenance of medical record. These are very, very important in this regard. Then the seventh one, we said collection of information. Collection of information. Here, we know that information collection aids in proper decision making and in designing an effective environmental health safety plan. Equally important to collection of information is its subsequent management. Okay, the safety and health information collected must be managed properly to maintain regulatory compliance. Then the eighth one, you said involvement of employee. Okay, here the involvement of employee in all aspects of safety and health plans benefit both the employee and the management, right? It also serves as a bridge of understanding for actions taken by the employer in terms of health and safety. And finally, the ninth essential component is the motivation, behavior, and attitude. Here, the goal of this element is to change the behavior and attitude to promote a safer and healthier workplace. It places great value on visible management, leadership, and support for changing unsafe behavior, attitude, and work processes. So these are some of the essential elements, and I just quickly give a brief highlight on each. Okay, so I urge you to still go back to the courseware and actually read more on this because I'm likely to ask this. Okay, thank you. All right, so now let's look at the principles of environmental health and safety. Okay, here we say the principles of environmental health and safety target the protection and safety of working men and women. You can see all this is all about what safety of employers and employees. Okay, so the principle of environmental health and safety targets the protection and safety of working men and women. In any country, this can be achieved through the setting and enforcing standards and provision of education, outreaches, and assistance, issuing of permits, licenses, certificates, registration, and approval. The EHS principle covers areas that are specific to each organization, as well as those that are general to most organizations, like the issue of environment, occupational health and safety, community health and safety. These three are general to all organizations. You have to ensure the environment is safe, then occupational health and safety, ensure the work itself is safe and conducive for the staff. Then the community around the establishment must also be what protected. Okay, so we now look at the practical principles and how they apply in the next slide. Okay, so we said a proper understanding and implementation of the principles of environmental health and safety will reduce not only the hazard imposed to the health of workers and communities in areas of operation, but will reduce environmental pollution and occupational hazards. And the environmental health and safety principles can be discussed under the following principles according to NOLD 2014. One, we said protection of the biosphere. Two, sustainable use of natural resources. Three, waste reduction and disposal. Four, to conserve energy by improving the efficiency of internal operations. 5. Risk reduction. 6. Safe product and services. 7. Environmental restoration. 8. Public information. So now let's look at how each of these principles may be achieved. Like for instance, the first one, protection of the biosphere. How do we achieve this? We said this principle can be achieved by uh, the reduction of the use and or emission of hazardous air pollution and volatile organic compounds from manufacturing operations through the introduction of clean technologies. Okay, another way to achieve this is through the provision of water treatment facilities that meet or exceed discharge criteria. Then another one is the monitoring of storm water, conserve water use, and develop processes to efficiently use water and minimize water pollution. Okay, so these are some of the ways to protect the biosphere. So how do we achieve sustainable use of natural resources? Here we said the principle can be achieved by sustainable use of the renewable natural resources through efficient use and careful planning. Then also seeking opportunities to use wood from sustainable forests in products. Okay, and an attempt to recycle or make beneficial use of wood scrap generated in manufacturing operations. Then recycling steel, aluminum, and other metal components. Then being environmentally responsible in the purchase of materials. So all these will lead to sustainable use of all natural resources. It all entails wise use, okay? So that to be available today, to be available tomorrow, it will be available in the future, okay? Yeah. Then number three, how do we achieve waste reduction and disposal? We say this can be achieved through an attempt to seek opportunities to reduce waste and introduce recycling processes in an organization's operation. Okay, then another way to achieve this is disposing of waste only in well operated and permitted facilities. Okay, then number four, how do we ensure conservation? To conserve energy by improving the efficiency of internal operations. And this principle can be achieved by making every effort to use environmentally safe and sustainable energy sources, conserving energy and improve energy efficiency. Then risk reduction. How do you achieve this? To achieve risk reduction, this principle can be achieved through one, designing of processes to prevent injury to the health and welfare of workers, the community, and the environment. Two, through the development and implementation of health and safety policies and programs to help prevent injury and illnesses to workers. Then three, the development and implementation of health and wellness awareness and illness prevention program. All these can be used to reduce risks. Then safe product and services. And this principle can be achieved through the provision of independent testing to assure the safety of product. Okay. Then environmental restoration. To achieve this, to comply responsibly with the law to address conditions caused by the industrial processes that could endanger the health, safety, or the environment. Then finally, the public information. Here is geared towards to comply with the law to inform on a timely manner those who may be affected by conditions caused by operations that might endanger the health, safety, or the environment, just like what is happening in the Niger Delta. Okay, to ensure safety or the environment, I will encourage employees to report dangerous incident or conditions to management. Okay, so there need to be a public information when you are threatened by the activities of an establishment that pose danger to safety of life. You need to speak out. Okay, likewise, even the employees, they need to also speak out. Okay, so this is what the principle entails, and I will urge you all to still read it thoroughly in the courseware, how each of these principles may be achieved. At least you should be able to state 3 ways to achieve each of these principles, as I just explained in brief. All right, we are done with study session 1. Now let's look at study session 2, and here we'll be looking at environmental health and safety rights of workers. Okay, rights of workers. So after studying this session, I expect you to be able to: 1. Describe the basic environmental health and safety rights of workers. 2. Discuss the responsibilities of employers. 3. Explain employees' responsibility. Okay, so this is straightforward. All right, let me just give a general background introduction. So we said work provide a lot of benefit to the workers, which could be economical, social, physical, psychological. Yet, a wide array of workplace hazards also present dangers to the health and safety of people at work, right? It may also be said that workers are the life wire of any organization. Being such a vital component, it is expected that the workers be protected from harm or hazard that may be emanating from the organization's operation, right? Good. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of the General Assembly, in the General Assembly Resolution, item 217A of 1948 of the United Nations, Article 23, provides the right to just and favorable conditions of work. Okay? So the whole essence of enacting and implementing the rights and responsibilities of workers is to reduce the wide array of workplace hazards and dangers to the health and safety of people at work. So being such a vital document in any organization, it is expected that the workers and employees adhere strictly to such laid down rules and reduce workplace hazard and dangers to their lives. Okay, danger to their lives. Okay, yeah, the Canadian Center for Occupational Health and Safety in 2018 outlines the 3 basic environmental health and safety rights of workers. The employees' rights include: 1. Right to refuse unsafe work. Yeah. Right to refuse unsafe work. 2. Right to participate in the workplace healthy and safety activities through the Health and Safety Committee or as a worker health and safety representative. Then 3. Right to know or the right to be informed about actual and potential dangers in the workplace. So these are the 3 fundamental rights of any employee in an establishment: the right to refuse unsafe work, the right to participate in workplace health and safety activities, then the right to know or the right to be informed about actual and potential danger in the workplace. Okay, so these are the 3 basic rights of any employee. Okay, so the main Department of Labor in 2013 expanded the 3 basic rights of employees and include rights to: 1. Right to a safe and healthy workplace, right to ask your employer to correct dangerous conditions, right to file a complaint about workplace hazard, right to participate in enforcement inspection, right to not be discriminated against for exercising your health and safety rights. Then right to refuse work that puts you in immediate danger of serious harm. Before you refuse unsafe work, request that your employer eliminate the hazard and make it clear that you will accept an alternate assignment. Okay? Then right to information on hazard in your workplace chemical used in your workplace, tests your employer has done to measure chemical, noise, and radiation levels, and what to do if you or other employees are involved in an incident or are exposed to other toxic substances. Then finally, you have the right to training from your employer on healthy workplace. Okay, so these are basically an extension of the previous three rights we talked about. So this is more generalized. Okay, so since we've already seen the rights of employees, we also need to know what are the responsibilities of employees in an establishment. And according to the Canadian Center of Occupational Health and Safety, the responsibilities of employees include: 1. To work in compliance with Occupational Health and Safety Acts and regulations. 2. To use personal protective equipment (PPE) and clothing as directed by the employer. 3. To report workplace hazards and dangers to the supervisor or employer. And 4. To work in a safe manner as required by the employer and use the prescribed safety equipment. And 5. To tell the supervisor or employer about any missing or defective equipment or protective device that may be dangerous. Okay, so this as an employee, these are your responsibilities. Okay, so take note. So here, let's also look at the responsibilities of the employers. Okay, according to the Canadian Center for Occupational Health and Safety, in line with maintaining a healthy workplace, employers are expected to discharge the following responsibilities to their employees. 1. To establish and maintain a health and safety committee or cause workers to select at least one health and safety representative. Okay. 2. To take every reasonable precaution to ensure the workplace is safe. Then 3. To train employees about any potential hazard and in how to safely use, handle, store, and dispose of hazardous substances and how to handle emergencies. Then 4. To supply personal protective equipment and ensure workers know how to use and handle the equipment safely and properly. Then 5. To immediately report all critical injuries to the government department responsible for occupational health and safety. Then 6. To appoint a competent supervisor who tests the standard of performance and who ensures safe working conditions are always observed. Okay, so it's a responsibility to appoint a competent supervisor who will test the standard for performance and also ensure safe working conditions are always observed within the establishment. Okay, so here we can see that the employer, both the employer and the employee all have their role to play. Okay, just to ensure that the safety of life, property, and the environment. Okay, so just keep calm, just a reading assignment and for peace. Okay, so no need to panic. All right, all right. So you try to read and study session 3 and study session 4 and in preparation for the quiz. So the rules are stated here. Please take it serious. Okay? Alright. So our next interactive discussion will be on module 2. And this is what we're going to cover, God's willing. And you can read ahead. Maybe some of this session may be given as an assignment, individual assignment and group assignment. Then some we may be discussing them on the WhatsApp or forum, LMS forum platform. Okay. All right. All right. We have come to the end of today's class on study session 1 and 2. So please, for any question or clarification, you can put your questions on the WhatsApp platform. I'll try my best to respond to each and every question or clarification raised, so we can continue with our discussion on the forum. Okay. All right. Thank you, and stay safe and keep healthy. And remember that COVID is real. All right. See you next week. Cheers. Bye.